Manchester United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. And that has got to be one of the jammiest victories of all time. I can't believe what I've just witnessed. Now, no disrespect one bit to Manchester United here, but I think even United fans can agree they deserve nothing from this game. Absolutely nothing. They massively got away with one here. I can't believe it. Genuinely watching that game, I don't know how Wolves, A, haven't scored, and B, haven't taken at least a point from this game. At the very least, they deserve the point. I thought Wolves were fantastic. Genuinely. From minute 1 to minute 90, Wolves were tenacious. They chased the ball down. Everyone thinking that it's going to be a walk in the park for United. Many saying that Wolves, ever since losing Julian Lopetegui, were going to be destined to be in a relegation scrap. I saw nothing of the sort today. Wolves were up fit. They were fighting. They had ball progressives in field. And they looked out for it. But they just could not put the ball in the back of the net. I don't think I've seen a game go like this in forever. In such a long time, where it's genuinely got to be Wolves attacking. You're thinking United are going to grow in the game. United are going to get a chance eventually, but it didn't end up happening. It was just Wolves. Couldn't score. And the whole time, everyone's thinking the same thing. They're going to regret these chances missed. But the chances kept coming. And then with 15 minutes left, Man United pop up and their big players combine. They get a goal from it. Rafael Varane on the end of the header. And you have to say, if you're a Manchester United fan watching this right now, you've got to be delighted. Absolutely delighted. You've just got away with murder right there. Daylight robbery. You've robbed the bank with cameras showing you in 4K UHD. You stabbed someone on the way out and you still managed to get away with it. With $1 million stolen. That's what's happened in this game. So United fans, you've got to be absolutely delighted with what you've seen. You got not delighted with the performance, but delighted with the fact that you played so horribly, yet got 3 points. Because last season against Brighton, they equally played horribly, but they deservedly lost that game. Whereas today, they equally played horribly, but they undeservedly won this game. United won't play as bad as this all season. I promise you that. For some reason, United in their first game, they always seem to struggle. It's a bit of a voodoo, especially under Erik ten Hag. Both seasons now, they've struggled in their opening game, but they still managed to win the football match. That's the main thing. Now, performances have to pick up. That is for an absolute fact because they can't play like this every single game. Because if you're getting found out by Wolves, you'll get found out by a lot of other sides. Trust me, Wolves just can't score. They were allergic to scoring goals. They had a voodoo on Onana's goal. If it was any other team, they would have won this game convincingly because United were giving up way too many chances for anyone's liking. But you've played horribly and you've won the football match. And you need some of those every season. Yes, not every game you're going to be up to the best of your ability. You're going to be winning every single match, winning every duel. That's not what it's going to be like every single season. You got to win some games where you're under the cosh, where you're not playing well, where the majority of players are probably getting a 4 or 5 out of 10 in the match ratings. The problem is you don't want that game to come as the first one in the season because it doesn't really bode well. You want that game to come around during the Christmas period, Easter period, where the games come thick and fast. You just need to get away with one. If this game was match day 25 or 30, you're sitting as a United fan delighted. Bad performance, but you got the 3 points. On match day 1, you are still a little bit nervous given that you don't want to kick off the season playing like this. It's not a good sign. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters in football doesn't matter how many chances you create, doesn't matter how much possession you have. It doesn't matter at all any of that stuff. The only thing that matters is that score in the top left corner. And Manchester United were the one that got the goal and Wolverhampton Wanderers didn't. You have to say that. So, look, there's no justice in this world. I genuinely think that watching that game, I genuinely felt like there was no justice in this world because everyone, even United fans, Wolves fans, neutrals, have to agree that Wolves deserved at least a point from that game. Even a point probably would have been robbery. Wolves were by far the better team. And that penalty at the end, in my opinion, that's a stonewall penalty. Andre Onana's missed the ball. He's endangered the opponent by clattering straight into the defender. For me, that's a stonewall penalty for Wolverhampton Wanderers at the end. I think they've got every right to be aggrieved with that decision. Now, I'm not saying that just because the player headed the ball, it shouldn't be a penalty. 100% it should be. Onana's endangered the opponent. He clattered right into the attacker trying to win the header. It's a penalty every day of the week. If it was the other way around, United fans would be crying for a penalty. So I think Wolves are very hard done by today with that. But on the other side of the coin, the chances they had to score them. But they've only got themselves to blame. From the start of it, of the pitch, all the way up until the final third, fantastic. I thought Nunes today, fantastic in that midfield. Ball carrier. How many times do I talk about teams that need a ball carrier? Liverpool for one. Liverpool yearning for a ball carrier. Why not go and get Matheus Nunes from Wolves? I know you've been interested in him in the past. Someone that can progress the ball from deep and charge forward with it and create chances. I thought Cunha had a fantastic game as well. Oh my God, so good. And Pedro Neto. We've been robbed of Pedro Neto playing brilliant football because of his injury record. But that man's an absolute baller. I'll tell you that for free. Fantastic against Pedro Neto. On the ball, making things happen. But just like Pedro Neto, just like Cunha, Just like, of course, Hwang Yi-chan, when he came on the pitch, no one can score goals in this Wolves team. It's been their problem. Not just this season, it seems. Last season, it was a glaring problem. The season before, it was a glaring problem. Ever since Raul Jimenez got that awful injury against Arsenal, they haven't had a goal scorer that can get you 10-plus goals a season. And look what happens. Goals win you matches. I know for the rest of this match, everything else, Wolves are fantastic. In every department of this match, other than scoring goals, Wolves would have scored an 8 or 9 out of 10. But goals win you matches. And it's a ruthless game. It's a ruthless game because Man United got to sit there in the changing rooms after, and they're going to be like, what just happened? Like, we did not deserve to win this football match one bit. We were absolutely outrun. And that's got to be worrying for Erik ten Hag because they were out-competed today, Wolves. So they were out-competed today by Wolves. Wolves were by far the better team. They were running more. They were passing more. And every time Cunha or Núñez got the ball and was running, no United player could stop them. Casemiro's legs looked like they died. Luke Shaw's looked like his legs had gone. Lisandro Martinez had to be hooked at half-time because he got a yellow card early. So every time Wolves were charging with the ball, United couldn't stop them. And that's got to be worried for Erik ten Hag because in transition, they're going to get found out if that's the case. On the flip side, for Gary O'Neill, I think he did a fantastic job today. And I think he's proved that Wolves, although I still do believe that they're not safe from staying in the Premier League, they definitely proved a lot of doubters wrong that said they were going to be in a relegation scrap. Obviously, don't get complacent. It's the first game of the season, and you did escape with 0 points. But there's good signs here for Wolves. Very good signs. Even looking at that squad, the starting 11 look good. Obviously, if Pedro Neto gets injured again, if you get a couple of injuries like Mateus Núñez, it could go a bit downhill, a bit rocky. But I thought Wolves played a good enough game today to look like they probably look like they're going to be safe in the Premier League. That's for an absolute fact. But on the flip side, for Manchester United, what's you guys' thoughts on United? I'm going to get into your comments in a second, by the way. Make sure you keep leaving your thoughts in live chat. I'm going to react to them in just a second. Just going to keep reviewing this match one bit. What's your thoughts on United? Because for me, if you're a United fan, like I said, you've got to be worried with the performance because you were second best today. Every single United fan leaving Old Trafford today will understand they got away with one. They got away with daylight robbery because they did not deserve anything from that game. Not even a point. They deserve 0 from that football match. But you won the game. You got 3 points. So you got to be delighted. Low key, you got to sit there and go, good. Like, we won that game. Because last season, like I said, United started slow as well. Lost to Brighton, lost to Brentford. In that Brighton game, horrible performance. And they deservedly lost that match. Again today, horrible performance at the start of the season. But they got 3 points. And no one remembers at the end of the season, oh, you played crap versus Wolves and won that game. If they get top 4, if they win the league by 3 points, who knows? They can look back at this game and go, wow, we didn't deserve it, but we got 3 points here. Because that's all that matters, man. The only thing that matters is that Man United got their first win to kick off the season. They go to Tottenham next, which will be a tough game. I thought Tottenham were decent on the weekend. Can't wait to watch that one. So let's see what happens there. But for United fans, boy, let me know your thoughts on live chat. I want to hear it. Are you happy? You must be happy with the 3 points. But what's your overall thoughts on the performance? And certain players as well, like Mason Mount, I thought was non-existent. Maldini, appreciate you on the stream. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Wolves are robbed. Howard Webb is back. Yeah, I thought that was a penalty as well. Hey, let me know your thoughts in live chat. Do you think it was a penalty? For me, Stonewall penalty at the end. Stonewaller. Andre Onana has jumped into the defender, clattered him, endangered the opponent. It's got to be a penalty. If you endanger an opponent in the box, it's a penalty. Case in point, I don't care that the ball isn't in proximity or he's already headed the ball away. Onana's jumped into the defender. He's clattered into him. We can't condone this. It has to be a penalty. You have to be safer because I'm telling you this right now. No one can disagree with this. If it was the other way around and the defender jumped into Onana, they would have given the free kick. 100%. So why is it one rule for one and another rule for another? There has to be consistency. That's what irks me the most with the Premier League and the referees especially. There's not consistency at times. Because we know that if Onana was clattered into, it's a free kick every day of the week. So why when Onana clatters into the Wolves player, is it not a penalty? That doesn't make any sense to me. That needs to be cleared up. Because I think Wolves were robbed today. Obviously, you could say that you look at the other chances. I feel like Pedro Neto should have scored definitely at least 1 goal this game. You're looking at Cunha probably should have scored. He had a good chance as soon as the second half started. But right at the end, you've got a lifeline. Should be a Stonewall penalty. A chance to take a point from a game, a deserved point. And you've been robbed of it. And I think Gary O'Neill was right to be aggrieved by the end of the game. Jeff, appreciate your stream. Hope you're doing well, my friend, as well. Wolves were the better side today, 100%, but they just can't score. Yeah, they're allergic to scoring goals for one reason or another. They probably would have ended up missing the penalty at the end anyway. You know what? You're probably right. You're probably right. But the penalty is the best chance you can get to score. And they deserve that penalty, in my opinion. I ain't scared of United. Don't do anything this season. Look, I appreciate your stream, by the way. I hear you based on this performance, but United are a dangerous team. Trust me when I tell you that. United lost 1 game at Old Trafford last season. It was their first game against Brighton. It was their worst performance there. Losing one game at your home stadium is good. Arsenal lost more games at the Emirates last season. For example, we lost to City and Brighton. So I think United are dangerous this season. I would be worried about them. I can't lie to you. Obviously, this performance, you're looking at it and thinking, bloody hell, like United look crap. They had no legs in midfield. Casemiro was getting overran. Mount and Fernandes had no balance next to each other. It looked like they were too easy to get past. They were too easy to bypass in that midfield. But United will get back. Trust me. Trust me. This is why I'm so disappointed, because I know United can't perform as bad as this at all. They won't play as bad as this all season, especially at home. They won't. And they still managed to win that football game. Like, how jammy is that? This is your worst performance you will put in all season, and you still managed to win the game. So look, if you're a United fan, you got to look to improve the performances, but you got to be delighted with the fact you still managed to get 3 points. If you're opposition fans, don't get complacent. We'll see United next week against Tottenham, and they'll put in a good fight for that game. Trust me when I tell you that. This is just like United last year, scrape out a goal somewhere and win. Yeah, we saw it last year as well. But this game, I think was miles worse than last season. At least last season they had chances. Genuinely today, United barely had any chances. It was all Wolverhampton Wanderers. It was all Wolves from minute 1 to 90. Wolves were the better team. And every single time they missed, I kept saying, they're going to regret it. They're going to regret it. But they kept getting more and more chances. I was thinking, look, you're getting more and more chances. I keep saying you're going to regret it, but you're getting more chances. When are you going to take them? And lo and behold, Varane punishes them. It's the title of this video. Varane saves United. And that's exactly what he did, because they didn't deserve anything from this game, man. Absolutely nothing. Big up to you 15 people watching. Yeah, I appreciate everyone that's tuning into the stream today. I hope you guys enjoying it. My United game was so dead. Now, I don't think it was a dead game. I thought it was a very good game, actually. I thought it was a very entertaining game. Wolves just couldn't score. For a 1-0, that was one of the most entertaining 1-0s you will see. I thought Wolves were at it. Wolves were very tenacious. They were running through midfield. I think Wolves will be a fun watch this season under Gary O'Neill. I genuinely think so. If Wolves play anything like that, they'll be a fun watch, because they had legs in that midfield. They were willing to carry the ball from defense to attack on multiple occasions. So, yeah, I thought it was a very entertaining game, in my opinion. So, look, let's see what comes of it for Wolves. I think they will be a mid-table to lower half of the table team if they stay fit. If Nunes gets injured, if Pedro Neto gets injured again, they could obviously drop down the table as they did last season. But who knows, man? I think Gary O'Neill's a very underrated manager. I think he proved that last year at Bournemouth. Cunha was amazing. The number of times he turned with the ball and just took off over the whole field. Yeah, agree. I thought he had a fantastic game, Cunha. Just could not score in the chances he had. You're 100% right. That's what I was talking about with United having no legs in midfield, because there were certain times where Cunha would just body feint and carry the ball, and Lisandro Martinez couldn't stop him. Luke Shaw couldn't stop him. Casemiro couldn't stop him. Obviously, Mount and Fernandes haven't exactly got defensive prowess. So I'll be honest with you, I 100% agree with you. If Wolves can keep the starting 11 fit, they could be a dangerous team for anyone this season. Genuinely, Wolves are a problem. Yeah, I think so as well. Thoughts on Cancelo? Well, obviously we know that Timber's going to be out with an ACL for several months, it seems. Arsenal do need a fullback. Should we go for Cancelo? I'm not too sure, to us. I still think he's a bit of like an ego problem. And look, when Timber comes back, Cancelo will still want to start games. And I don't think he's going to start games for Arsenal. So I would stay away from Cancelo, in my opinion. But it's up to Arteta and Edu. Let's see what they do. I'm worried about Man United. Mohammed, appreciate John's stream, by the way, my friend. I'm worried about Man United. Needs to sign 2 midfielders and a holding midfielder and a DM. Yeah, look, you're 100% right. What's up with Casemiro? Has he finally caught up to him, his age? Because that brother had no legs today. He was getting overrun as soon as Nunes picked up the ball, as soon as Cunha picked up the ball, and Pedro Neto picked up the ball. He could not compete. He could not run back. He could not chase. It looked like the game was too fast for him today, Casemiro. And that's a shame, because I think he's a real baller. And look, maybe I'm just preempting fate, and maybe I'm speaking too soon, but genuinely today, I thought at times that Casemiro was getting overrun, genuinely overrun. So look, let's see what comes of it, because obviously Casemiro is still a quality footballer. Of course he is. But at times today, I genuinely thought that Casemiro, I thought that Luke Shaw especially, Aaron Wan-Bissaka at times were getting overrun in that midfield. Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro is not a good enough midfield, in my opinion. There's no balance to it. They need to bring back either Eriksen. They've obviously sold Fred. I thought Fred is a decent player for United. Fred's one of the most underrated players at United. I genuinely thought he would be that like middle point. He's not a defensive midfielder like McTominay or Casemiro. And he's not an attacking midfielder like Fernandes or Eriksen or Mount. Fred would be that middle ground. That player that would just do the dirty work, be tenacious, run around, close people down. He'd be an unsung hero for United. And he scored some big goals there as well. So I think it was very, very much the wrong move to sell Fred. At least they haven't brought in a replacement, in my opinion. I don't believe that Mason Mount's an adequate replacement for Fred. I think he's a better player than Fred. But in that position, I don't think he's as good as Fred as a box-to-box midfielder. That's just my thoughts on it. Man United goalkeeper should get yellow for a penalty. Yeah, look, That was a penalty. Onana definitely gave away a penalty. As I said before on stream, right? If he gets clattered into, it's a free kick to Onana. So why when Onana clatters into the Wolves player, is it not a penalty? It's one rule for one, a different rule for another. There needs to be consistency. I thought that was a penalty, but overall, I thought Onana had a really good game. Andre Onana is that difference. I called it, man. All last season, anyone that kept up with the stream, especially in United games, I said, sell David De Gea and bring in either Mike Manuel or Andre Onana. I said exactly that, and lo and behold, United listened to me. And Onana made some big saves today. He did. Look, Onana will make some mistakes. He will. That's the nature of his game. But overall, I think he's a really good goalkeeper, Onana. I think he's a top keeper. Matheus Nunes, get him to the carpet, baller. Yeah, I agree. I think he's a top baller. I think Liverpool should be looking his way, to be honest. Because we know Liverpool missed out on Caicedo. They missed out on Lavia as well. Chelsea are just going for Liverpool's targets and just stealing them away from them. It's crazy. So I think Liverpool needs to be looking at Matheus Nunes now. He could be that ball progressor in midfield, exactly what they need. I think he can be that missing piece for them. Genuinely, Liverpool needs to be looking at Matheus Nunes. Pedro Neto, what a baller. 100% true, Guna. 100%. Appreciate you on the stream, by the way, my friend. He is genuinely so good. Obviously, I haven't seen a lot of him just because of his injury record. He can't seem to stay fit. But today, I think he was a proper baller, man. I think he showcased his talent. He needs to improve his end product. Of course, I think all of Wolves players do, especially attackers. They need to find a way to put the ball in the back of the net. But I do agree with you. What a baller Pedro Neto is, man. He's just electric on that football. Maybe they will pick up points against the box standard, but against the top six, they'll get found out. Well, that was United's problem last season, right? Away from home against the big six, they struggled to win those games. That was United's glaring problem last season. So let's see what happens. Let's see if they improve in it, especially away games. United always struggle in away games, it seems to be, especially last season. So Erik ten Hag's got a job on his hands. Let's see what he does. I think, to be fair to him, Erik ten Hag, right? He signed well. I thought Rasmus Højlund's a good sign. I think Andre Onana's a good signing. I still have reservations about the wingers. I don't think Anthony should start against United. What did he do today? What did Anthony really do on that football pitch? So I think there's obviously some things that they need to clean up. But I think for the most part, it was a decent game. So I think it's a decent window for Manchester United. It's just about implementing those players into the squad now. That's got to be the main thing. But at the same time, there's certain players that are aging. Varane isn't getting younger. I know he scored today, but he's not getting any younger. Casemiro's already mentioned. Casemiro was a massive part of Manchester United last season. Without Casemiro, United lost their first two games. As soon as he came in, they shot up the table and they finished top four. Yeah, it showcases how important a good defensive midfielder is. If Casemiro is missing, or if he falls off, United could fall off as well. Genuinely, they could. I think it's a massive part of how they play. So I think they got to look to either replace Casemiro with another defensive midfielder, although it could be too late in the window to do that now, or at least have someone that's at his level that can learn under him and replace him in certain moments. Because I think Casemiro today looked a little bit lost in midfield. And I know you can't really say lost because he's won the Champions League, 5-6 times. But you know what I mean? I think he looked a little bit overran. The game looked too fast for him. He didn't look like he had the legs to compete with the Matheus Nunes, the Cunhas, etc. Because Wolves were turning and running. And United had no answer. When Wolves were running, United didn't know what to do except let them run and just pray that Onana made a good save or the defense managed to stop them or they managed to mess up the final pass, which more often than not is what happened, unfortunately, for Wolves. Man United should sign a second striker. I agree. Why didn't United look at Harry Kane? It still baffles me. United are the biggest club in England. They should be exercising their right to sign these top players. It makes no sense to me. Like, Manchester United are like a billionaire that shops in Poundland. Genuinely, it makes no sense. You're Manchester United. You have one of the biggest names in world football. Every player would dream of playing for your football club. Why are you not knocking on Harry Kane's door and going, we want to bring you to Old Trafford? If United signed Harry Kane instead of Rasmus Højlund, look, I know he probably would have cost more than what Bayern Munich paid for him just because it's a Premier League to Premier League move, right? But they spent 70 million on Højlund. Spend 50 million more and you can get Harry Kane potentially for 120 million. And he's a much better player than Højlund and he's Premier League proven. And he helps you win titles right now. But no, they signed Højlund. Yes, Højlund might be an amazing player, but he scored 9 goals for Atalanta last season. He's still a work in progress. He's still a gamble. He's still a risk. United shouldn't be taking those kind of risks. You're a big enough club to sign the top players. You don't need to start flirting around with these potential players like Højlund and players like that. Sign the top players. Andre Onana was the best goalkeeper available in the market. You went and bought him. Good job. Harry Kane's the best striker available in the market. Go and buy him. But no, you sign Højlund instead. Look, he might turn out to be a really good signing potentially, but it wasn't a risk you needed to take. You spend 50 million more. You don't sign Mason Mount, and instead of Mason Mount and Højlund, you sign Harry Kane, and that's a much better window. Harry Kane and Andre Onana already takes your team up levels and takes you much closer to Arsenal and Man City. But no, I feel like Manchester United always miss a trick in these windows. If I was United, look, I would be signing these top players, man. I'd be saying, look, I'm Manchester United, got one of the biggest turnovers in world football, biggest stadium in England. I want to be signing these top players. I want to be looking at these Rasmus Højlunds, for example. But who knows? Look, Man United comes to the Emirates in a few weeks' time, September the 4th, I believe. I can't wait for that game. Last year was one of my favorite games to watch. So let's see what happens. Referees and officials are entitled to make mistakes, but when managers voice their frustration, they get booked. That's when the corruption kicks in for me. Yes, look, in my opinion, right, that was the most stonewall penalty you can get. How that was not a penalty is beyond me. And Gary O'Neill's 100% right. It's a 98th minute or 95th minute, whatever it is, right? He's watched his team on the brink of losing a game that they don't in a million years deserve to lose. They deserve to win that game every day of the week. Gary O'Neill's Wolves. Every day of the week, they deserve to win that game. And he's watched his team be denied a stonewall penalty at the death that could have rescued them a much-deserved point. Of course he's going to go mad. He's not exactly gone and punched the referee, has he? Or he's not exactly gone and pushed the assistant ref. He's just gone and put his arms up. He's waved his frustration. He's shown his passion in the game. He gets booked when it should be Onana that's booked and a penalty is given away. It's just so much inconsistencies at times. Like I said before, man, every single United fan will agree with this, just like every single other fan on earth. If it was Wolves player that clattered into Onana when he tries to clear the ball away, it's a free kick every day of the week. So why when Onana clatters into the attacker, is it not a free kick? That makes no sense to me. He's endangered the opponent by clattering into him. He's reckless. He's off his feet. He's off his line, running into the opponent, endangering the opponent and potentially getting him injured, especially because he could have got concussed. Yet it's not a penalty. Why? It makes absolutely no sense. Wolves were robbed today in that respect, 100% so. Look, if you're a United fan, you're not worried. You're taking the 3 points. Of course you are. But even you got to sit there and go, yeah, I can't lie. We got a little bit robbed today. Wolves definitely deserved at least a point from this game, at the very least. But if you're a Wolves fan, you got to be happy with the performance under Gary O'Neill. Obviously, losing Lopetegui like 5 days before the season starts is never ideal. Never, ever ideal. But you got to sit there and go, you know what? Despite the fact we lost Lopetegui, we look decent. Like, we played really well. We were progressing the ball well. And we could be a challenge for any team in this league if we perform like that. That's what Wolves have got to be saying under Gary O'Neill. I thought they played fantastic and definitely deserved at least a point. I sat at the end of the game and I sat there and I looked at the heavens and I thought, is there any justice in this world? Is there any karma in this world? Because the balance of the universe got shifted today. Wolves did not deserve to lose that game. Not at all. Not even a minute, not even a minuscule 1% of me thought Wolves deserved to lose that game. Somewhere in the world, balance has been shifted. But look, what goes around comes around. Maybe next week, United will get robbed at Tottenham and Wolves will win a game they deserve to lose. Football's like that sometimes, man. It goes in roundabouts. It swings in roundabouts. But yeah, off the balance of this game, I think definitely Wolves deserved at least a point at the very least. And they got a chance for it at the end. I genuinely thought that was a penalty. I looked at it 4 times in replay, and every time I watched it, it looked more like a penalty. Every single time I watched it, I thought, yeah, that's got to be a penalty. Oh, it's a penalty for sure. Then the ref walks towards. I'm thinking, yes, he's gone to the monitor, VAR. He walks towards the monitor. I'm thinking, there we go. He's going to overturn it. Wolves get a deserved point. But no, he goes to book Gary O'Neill. I'm confused. I'm like, what? I thought he was going to the monitor to change the decision. But yeah, corruption at its finest, in my opinion. Look, I'm not one to throw conspiracy theories out there about corruption this, corruption that. But one thing I do know is that Wolves got robbed today. Definitely robbed. Why do United fans hate the Glazers so much? Out of curiosity. Super League, they don't back the club, etc. They don't really go to games. Avram Glazer and all them, man. I understand it. To be fair to United, I have to give them their props because they maintain their Glazer out chance. Arsenal, we don't do this Kroenke out thing anymore. It was like that for about a year, if that. Now United, every game they want the Glazers out. They still chance it. So you got to do fair play to them for that, 100%. Wolves don't look like relegation fodder to me. Yeah, 100% right. I think I put Wolves to finish 14th or 13th. It's looking decent right now, my prediction for them. A lot of people thought once they lost Lopetegui, they were going to go down. And I hear you, but Wolves have actually got a decent squad. Trust me when I say that. Like, you saw that team today. It's a good team. The problem with Wolves is, last year, they had a lot of injuries and it cost them. And it almost cost them staying in the Premier League until Lopetegui came. If Núñez stays fit, if Pedro Neto stays fit, they got a good team. Definitely, man. But the problem is, if they stay fit, because it's a risk. Like, who knows? They're injury-prone players. But they're definitely some good players there for Wolves. Cunha as well, especially. Very good striker for them. Playing that false line position, so good. I didn't see the game, but Tommy, appreciate you on the stream, by the way. I didn't see the game, but all I'm hearing is Wolves dominated and should have won. Is that a fair reflection? Tommy, brother, you saw the biggest example of daylight robbery in my life. If I had to give you an analogy, guys, this is what I'm going to tell you what happened, right? It's a bank. Manchester United walk into the bank. They've got their pistols. They've come in. It's got Garnacho, it's got Rashford. Bruno Fernandes have walked into the bank. They're putting the gun at the bank teller. They've robbed the bank teller for £1 million. £1 million. The CCTV's scanning all their faces. They forgot their balaclavas at home. They walk out the bank and the police just don't arrest them. They walk straight past the police. That is what just happened today. I've never seen a more one-sided game go against the team. It's crazy. Like, Wolves played so well. Genuinely, every time Wolves attack, they look like scoring. I don't know what the stats say, but you don't need to look at the stats. I'm telling you with my own two eyes. Wolves deserve to win that game, let alone draw it. Wolves deserve to win that football match. They had so many good chances. And United weren't up for it one bit. So that's why, look, if you got to look at it as a United fan, you got to sit there and be delighted with the 3 points. But I understand that you got away with one today. As the title says, Varane saves United. He rescued 3 points for United because they didn't deserve that at all. Wolverhampton Wanderers, you got to go away from this game happy with the performance, very happy, but you got to go away gutted that you didn't get at least a point, at the very least, because it was such a good performance from you guys. So good. You just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. That was your problem. You were allergic to scoring goals. But up until that final third, perfect. Wouldn't change a thing. Just put the ball in the back of the net. Every single player in that Wolves attacking lineup needs to be taking at least 100 shots on training and scoring. Score 100 goals to exit training. That should be your exit clause. You know what I mean? Because they need to score goals, man. That was so poor from them. And at the end, they should have got a lifeline. The penalty didn't end up getting given. It's one of those things. Is that a Japan shirt? It is indeed, with Mitoma on the back, one of my favourite players in the Premier League, Kaoru Mitoma. It is a Japan shirt. Man United have the highest net spend in the entire world. Like, what do they need? Mbappe, what do they want? As they should, RD12. They're one of the biggest clubs. They should have the highest net spend. Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs in England. They've obviously got the Glazers, right, who's ahead of them, and they've got one of the highest turnovers. They should be spending the most money. The problem with United is they spend the money wrong. You have 100 million to spend. You come out with Anthony. What? That makes no sense. Like, you've got £100 million to spend, and you spend on Anthony. Like, that is your problem. The money isn't the problem. It's how you spend it. Like I said, this window, Rasmus Højlund, 70 million, Mason Mount, 65 million. Combined, that's 135 million. Manchester United fans, yeah, I'm not saying it would have happened, but hypothetically, would you rather have signed Rasmus Højlund and Mason Mount or Harry Kane? Every single United fan would have said Harry Kane. I promise you that. But no, they spend both of them on Rasmus Højlund. If you sign Harry Kane and Andre on this window, that still would have been an 8 out of 10 window with those two signings alone, because they both would have elevated your team. But no, you sign Onana, fantastic goalkeeper, but then you sign Mason Mount and Højlund. You're Manchester United. You're one of the biggest clubs in Europe. You are the biggest club in the Premier League, in my opinion. You should be exercising your right to sign these top players. I would be gutted if I'm a United fan. I should be sitting there going, we're the biggest club. We should be knocking on Harry Kane's door. I'm not saying 135 million would have been enough to sign Harry Kane, especially with the fact that Daniel Levy would have never wanted to sell Kane to a Premier League team. But still, at least try. At least try. Like, you spend 100 million on Anthony, for example, it's like being a billionaire, right? Walking into a Ferrari shop, trying to buy a Ferrari, and you leave with a toy car instead. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, you have the money to spend, you just spend it wrong. And I understand Anthony was his boy in Ajax, but everyone that's got two brain cells can bang them together and understand that Anthony's not worth anywhere near 100 million. I still have my reservations on Anthony. I still have my reservations on Jadon Sancho. He wasn't worth anywhere near 75 million. I still think the wingers are the weakest position on that football pitch for United. I genuinely think that. I don't think Anthony, Sancho are anywhere near good enough to carry United to a Premier League title. The way I look at it is this: if your players are not going to get into Man City's team, they shouldn't be in your team. Because if you want to compete with Man City, your players should be good enough to get into their team. When I look at Arsenal, for example, Ødegaard could get into Man City's team. Saka could get into Man City's team. Martinelli could get into Man City's team. I feel like Declan Rice could get into Man City's team. They would try to buy him, for example. Saliba equally could get into Man City's team. When I look at Man United players, is Anthony getting into Man City's team? No. Is Sancho getting into Man City's team? No. Is Bruno Fernandes getting into Man City's team? On occasion, fair, but he doesn't really fit Man City's style of play. Mason Mount? No. Casemiro? No. Is Varane getting there? No. Lisandro Martinez? Maybe, but probably not. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not enough players that are good enough to get to the level. If United want to fight for the title, case in point, do you match up to Man City on paper? And the answer is you don't. You physically don't. So how can you expect to compete on them for the Premier League title if your squad isn't even as good as them? But it just, I'm not even a United fan. It irks me because I feel like you should be signing these top players. And if you're not, something's gone critically wrong at that football club. That's just my thoughts on it. Wolves fans have to be gutted 100%. 100% they have to be gutted with that, because look, you take some positives from the performance. You take solace in the fact that it was a good game in terms of everything up until the final third. But you got to still at the same time look at it and go, why didn't we score our goals? Every single season it feels like Wolves can't score. That is their Achilles heel. That is what they just can't seem to do. But look, if you play like that, you will win a lot of games this season if you're Wolves. That's got to be the benefit. But look, for Gary O'Neill, he's got to sit there and he's got with his training staff be a little bit happy with the fact that his team played really well. Because when you're a manager, the first thing you want to do is make sure the performance is all right. Once the performance is all right, then you can start to get good results. So I think the performance was there today for Wolves, just the final result wasn't. I think Gary O'Neill will sit there in the change room after, and the players will be gutted. They genuinely will be. I think he'll sit there and he'll go, you know what, guys? I know we didn't get the result we wanted, but we played well today. Don't even hang your heads in shame, because we played a very good game. Very, very good game. And not a lot of teams come to United and do that. As I said, Manchester United only lost one game last season. That was their opening day game against Brighton. They beat Man City. They beat Arsenal. They beat Liverpool at their gaff. Like, United are a good team. They beat Chelsea at their gaff, etc. So it's nothing to be ashamed of losing here today, especially the performance they gave in. I thought Wolves were fantastic. At least they can take solace from the performance. Exactly. A lot of people have Wolves to get relegated. Yeah, not me, but a lot of people do. You're 100% right. So they got to be at least a little bit happy with the way they played for sure in this game. There's how many football shirts do you have? Good collection going, bro. Yeah, I've got quite a few, to be fair. You know, I order a lot of them from China, from DHK, because they're just like 10, 15 pounds, so cheap. I've got quite a few in my cupboard now. I'm trying to build up the collection. I think I'm going to go for a Saudi Arabian shirt next. I don't know who to get, though. Probably like Ronaldo, Al Nassr, maybe. Maybe Neymar. He's just gone to Al Hilal. Who knows? But yeah, I think that's going to be my next venture, to try and get those shirts. But yeah, I'm going to start to wrap up this stream now, guys. I appreciate everyone that's tuned in. To wrap it up, Manchester United have won 1-0 in the opening game against Wolves. They didn't deserve it, not even one bit. But they still managed to win that football match. Varane was the one that saved them. Where do United go from here? They've got some tough games coming up. They go to play Tottenham away from home, and in a few weeks' time, they go to the Emirates to play Arsenal. So it was a massive 3 points for United, given their tough schedule to start the season. They got it off with a bang in terms of points, but there's a lot to improve upon. Erik ten Hag will not be happy with the performance one bit. Al Nassr. I can't believe Neymar's gone to Saudi. Thoughts? I think it's a great waste of talent. Yeah, look, I could believe it. I can't lie. As soon as I saw him say he wanted to leave PSG, I knew he was begging for Saudi Arabia to come in for him. Neymar's past it, man. He's 30 years old now. Neymar is one of those players, right, that's Marmite. I don't love Neymar. I don't. I'll be real. I've never really liked him. I know obviously his flair. I know his trickery. I know that at times he's one of the most exciting players to watch. But I prefer more direct footballers than just skillful players in that sense. I knew he was going to go to Saudi. I knew it. I knew he just wants the paycheck now. He wants to go to Saudi. He understands that Saudi will respect him because it's an entertaining league, in the sense that it's not... Saudi Arabian League isn't there for results. It's not a results-based league like the Premier League. The Premier League, you play the Premier League to win. Like, look at teams like, for example, Nottingham Forest on the weekend against Arsenal. They set up to win that football match, defend deep, and try and nick them on the counter-attack. They weren't playing to entertain. Whereas in the Saudi Arabian League, you're playing to entertain. Like, the game is less... The result is less powerful. You just want to entertain, have fun, because that's what it's about. It's like a retirement home for these players to just mess about, do some skills, have a nice day out. Harlem Globetrotter sayings. So I think it fits Neymar down to a T. He'll get his paycheck. He'll obviously go to Saudi with some other top players as well around there. Like, obviously, you've got Mane out there, you've got Ronaldo out there, etc. So I think he'll really enjoy it out there. And look, Neymar, it's a shame given his career's basically come to an end now in Europe. A career that I feel like at Barcelona it peaked. PSG never really lived up to the hype, especially given he was the most expensive footballer. And obviously for Brazil, he hasn't delivered the World Cup that they all yearn. I think Neymar will go down as one of the biggest wasted talents in football. He will not finish top 10 of all time. In terms of his career, he probably won't even be top 100 of all time in terms of trophies won. But legacy-wise, you can't obviously doubt that. He's left a lasting legacy on Brazil, on young players growing up, especially our generation, well, my generation at least, growing up watching Neymar. They would have seen that a lot of people would have wanted to emulate him. Not myself, because obviously I'd never really liked the flicks and the tricks and the diving. But I feel like a lot of people my age would have loved to emulate Neymar growing up, would have watched his compilations on YouTube. So I think he can at least hold his head up high, leaving Europe knowing that he's created an impression, created a legacy. And there will still be players in 20 years' time. So there will still be young boys in 20 years' time with Neymar shirts on their back because they remember what he did. And their dads will tell them about what he did. Do you get what I mean? So I think that's what it is for Neymar. Arteta also got booked in the community shield. Yes, because you over complained for booking for Rodri. Bro, Rodri doesn't even get cards on his birthday. I'm convinced. Rodri's allergic to getting yellow cards. He gets away with it every time. In fact, it wasn't even a booking. That's why he reacted. Exactly. I'm not a Neymar fan either. I don't like his antics, but I respect the talent at 31, which is young these days, to retire. Yeah, I mean, going to Saudi, we class as retiring nowadays, right? But I agree with you. I think Neymar has had injuries as well throughout his career. I just think Neymar is kind of like Kyrie Irving for me in the NBA, in the sense that Neymar is such a good player, but he's not good enough to be that number one player. Neymar, if you want Neymar to lead your football team, you got problems. Neymar, whenever leading Brazil, they've never won the World Cup. Tell me one era when Brazil haven't won the World Cup. They always win it with all their golden generations, whether it was Pele, whether it was R9, etc. They always find a way to win the World Cup, Brazil, with whatever generation they have, with whatever star boy. But when it's Neymar trying to lead this Brazil team, they didn't win the World Cup because he just isn't good enough to lead the football team. At Barcelona, he was so good because he was the number 2 to Messi. And obviously Suarez as well was alongside him. That's what Neymar's role is. He's the best second option on the team. He's the superstar next to a bigger superstar. That's where Neymar thrives. And I think he has to understand that. It's too late in his career now, obviously, to still play that role. So he's gone to Saudi Arabia. But that's just my thoughts on it. I can't understand myself why refs can't be interviewed again after every football match, like managers and players do, if they put in a derisory performance or play out of their skin. Well, here's the thing, right? People, and I understand the refs' thoughts on this. People will only want to interview refs if they have a bad game. When referees have a good game, they don't get noticed. Referees having a good game means they don't get noticed. So no one wants to interview a referee after. So referees only going to get interviewed when they have a bad game. So referees getting interviewed after, that I understand that not happening. What I think should happen is, and I said travesty, it hasn't happened yet. It happens in rugby, I believe. It happens in the NFL. Happens in the NBA. Why aren't the refs mic'd up? Why can't we hear the referees? Well, I've never understood that. Put a mic on the referee, listen to them. And they can announce and say, look, this is what happened. So then at least after, when they're reviewing the game on Sky Sports, BT, where they're doing Amazon Prime, they can show footage of the referees saying certain things during the game. And then we can understand, oh, he said this, oh, he said that. Like, am I being crazy saying that? So interviewing the refs after, I understand if that doesn't happen. I'm fine with that because you're only going to get interviewed if you have a bad game. They're just going to get grilled. But at least mic up the referees. So in the post-match analysis, they can at least show the replays and we can hear what the referee's saying and then come with our own conclusions and go, okay, that's logical. Or what the hell is he talking about? He's not good enough, etc. Do you get what I mean? I think the refs should be mic'd up. Just my thoughts. Don't forget as well, Lee Mason's the head of the PJMOL, who's training these refs, you understand. Yeah, the Donny that forgot the lines against when Arsenal played Brentford last season, right? Absolute travesty. There's where Mbappe move. I want him to. I thought he's a waste at PSG. I think he's staying in. It's an absolute travesty that Mbappe is staying. I want him to move so badly. You guys don't understand it. Mbappe is my favorite player right now. He's been my favorite player for 2 years. This kid's electric, man. Mbappe is electric. He can't stay in this bad Ligue 1, man. It's just so bad. I want him to come to the Premier League, obviously. Mbappe comes to the Premier League, please. I just want it to happen. Even if he goes Manchester United, I want him to come to the Premier League because I want to see Mbappe in this league. He deserves to come here. But I feel like he's going to stay at PSG one more season. What I think is going to happen is, right, he's going to re-sign until 2025. And I think in his contract, he's got a release clause of about 100 million next season. That's what I think it's going to be. I think it's a win-win then. I think obviously he gets his move next season, which he always wanted. And then obviously you have release clause that Real Madrid or any team will want to match that release clause. I think it'll be an affordable release clause. That's what I assume is going to happen. Obviously, I have no inside knowledge, but based on the knowledge I have available right now, that's what I believe is going to happen. Just my thoughts on it. They do ref cams in the MLS, don't they? I'm not sure. I don't watch MLS, but I think they do. But against it, that would have been perfect because Wolves got robbed right at the end. It was a stonewall penalty. And I want to hear what's the dialogue between VAR and the referee. Because what is VAR telling him? Onana's endangered the opponent. He's collided into him. They should be saying, Lee Mason, this was happened. He wasn't Lee Mason. Whoever the referee was, this was happened. Onana's jumped into the player. We don't think it's a penalty. At least, explain. I want to hear what's going on. What's going on in that situation? It's a stonewall penalty, in my opinion. Stonewall penalty. But obviously, look, it's just case in point now. It's what we expect. The inconsistencies are rife. As I said earlier, right? If it was the other way around, if a Wolves player clattered into Onana when he tried to clear the ball, it's a free kick every day of the week. So why when Onana clatters into the attacking or the Wolves player, is it not a penalty? Inconsistencies. If that happened in anywhere else other than the penalty box, it's a free kick. But why in the penalty box is it a different rule? I think they should have got a penalty alone because they didn't deserve to lose that football match. But still, they didn't deserve to lose that game. I believe they deserved at least a point in that game, Wolves. And they had the glaring opportunity to do so. They got given the opportunity for a penalty on a lifeline. It was God himself saying, you know what, Wolves don't deserve to lose this game. Wolves have played so well. You know what, Wolves, you actually deserve to get something from this game. We'll give you a penalty right here. And the refs are going, you know what, actually, nah. It's not a penalty. Don't worry. Nah. United, it's fine, United. You can get away with 3 points here. It's not a penalty one bit. Like, what is the point of VAR? Because Wolves genuinely got robbed today. Genuinely got robbed. Now, obviously, I could talk about their finishing and how I believe it was so bad, because it was bad. Wolves genuinely should have won this game through their finishing alone. But at certain times, the refs don't help themselves. They really don't. Football should follow rugby union in many respects. Mics for refs a good idea. 100%. I've been saying it for time now. What about the sin bin idea sent off for 10 minutes? I don't know about that one. But mics for refs will always be it for me. Bow Butter, appreciate you joining the stream. Hope you're doing well, my friend. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe, by the way. I react to basically every single Premier League game this season, all the televised ones. I did 6 matches this weekend, man. 6 matches I did this weekend. I did Man City, Burnley. I did Arsenal, Forest. I did Newcastle, Villa. I did Brentford, Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool. And it ends today with United, Wolves. I did 6 games this weekend. If you rate the dedication, make sure you subscribe so you keep up to date with football reaction. Hit the bell notification button so you never miss a stream on this channel. Robbed again, VAR. Brother, if you're a Wolves fan, I feel sorry for you because you're 100% right. 100% right. United got away with murder here. They robbed the bank, they stole £1 million, and they walked past the police station and no one stopped them. That's what it was. It was a stonewall penalty. But then also, if you're a Wolves fan, right, you got to be so gutted. But at the same time, look at that performance. Did you expect that performance going into that game? United lost 1 game at their home turf last season, and that was in the opening day to Brighton. You played really well. I thought your ball progression with Núñez and Cunha was fantastic. I thought Pedro Neto, if he can stay fit, he looks a real problem. Now I understand why Arsenal wanted to sign Pedro Neto. That guy's a baller, man. Obviously, if he stays fit, that's a whole other question. Same with Mateus Núñez. But overall, I thought it was a really good game from Wolves. Mbappe, I'd like to see in the Premier League or Real Madrid or Barcelona. Look, if I had to map Mbappe's career, he'd go Real Madrid for 3 seasons, then he'd go Premier League for the rest of his career. That's what I'd like to see happen. What do you think of United's 20-year-old striker? Cam, appreciate your stream. Hope you're doing well, my friends. Okay, so Rasmus Højlund, right? This is my thoughts, man. I discussed it slightly earlier on the stream, but I appreciate you probably weren't here, so I'll go through it again. Signing a striker was necessary for Manchester United. 100% they needed a striker. Now, he scored 9 goals for Atalanta last season, in my opinion. I didn't watch him play, I don't watch Serie A, but from what I've heard of him, I've heard good things. I don't believe it was a risk United needed to take. That's just my thoughts. United are the biggest club in England. They can afford to sign these top players. We spoke about how the Glazers need to go, etc. The Glazers invest. They spent 100 million on Anthony, for example. They've given the money. It's just about how you spend the cash, right? The thing with Rasmus Højlund is, it is a risky purchase. He could do amazing things, but is it a risk you need to take? Now, Harry Kane's gone to Bayern Munich for 100 million plus 20 million add-on, so around 120 million. I understand that Tottenham probably didn't want to sell him to Manchester United, but why not try? Because Harry Kane's exactly the type of striker that would have been perfect for United. Obviously, the age is he's older than Højlund, but he's got the same age around as Casemiro or Varane. He fits in with United's aims, which is win a title as soon as possible. I think that would have been the perfect striker for you guys. So would you have rather signed Højlund and Mason Mount for 135 million combined, or tried to get Harry Kane for 135 million? I know my answer. I would have gone for Harry Kane, but that's just my thoughts on it, man. I remember when they uploaded the ref cam when we played the MLS All-Stars out in the USA. Yeah, 100%. And that's perfect. Look, ref cam doesn't really do much apart from, like, obviously provide content on YouTube. But ref cam obviously helps because you see the vision of the referee. But we've got VAR anyway to support the referee. We need ref mics. That's what we need. Do you think Kane will do well in Munich? Yeah, I think he'll do all right. To be fair, I think they'll win the Bundesliga with or without Harry Kane. It's all about how he does in the Champions League. That's the real thing. I wouldn't have gone if I was Harry Kane. I would not have gone to Bayern Munich. I would have waited 1 more season and gone Man United. If I was Harry Kane, that's what I would have done. If I was Harry Kane, I would have waited 1 more season and gone Man United or Chelsea. Or come Arsenal if you want, bro. I would have taken you at Arsenal. But so yeah, I think Harry Kane should have stayed 1 more season, ridden it out at Tottenham, and then gone for free next year to United, Chelsea, or Arsenal, whatever, who you want to go to. Probably not Arsenal because of his Tottenham links. But I would have done that. You would have been able to still go for the Alan Shearer goal record, and you would have had a good chance of winning the trophy at United or Chelsea for an absolute fact. That's what I would have done if I was Harry Kane. But obviously, he's been at Tottenham for so long. He just wants to get out of there as soon as possible. So he tries to go, he's gone to Bayern Munich. I think he's just so desperate for trophies now. He lost track of the bigger picture. Because someone made a brilliant point, right? Alan Shearer's won the Premier League with Blackburn. But people more often than not mention his goal record, not the fact he's won a Premier League. That's actually stood the test of time. Now, obviously, goal score records can get replaced. Trophies can't get replaced. You can't get overtaken in trophies. Like, You have the trophy or you don't. Whereas Alan Shearer's goal record can get overtaken by Haaland in a few years, for example. But I still think if Harry Kane stayed in the Premier League, that would have been the better option for him. I still think so. Because what does win the Bundesliga do? When he's a granddad, he's got his grandkids around him. What's he going to do? Show his Bundesliga medals? They're probably going to, I don't care. I genuinely don't care about your Bundesligas. That's just my thoughts on it. If I was Harry Kane, I would have waited one season, stuck it out, and gone to United or Chelsea. And if I was Manchester United, I would have binned off Højlund, binned off Mason Mount, and spent the whole budget on signing Harry Kane and an Andre Onana. That would have been a much better window than what I believe United have done so far. Just my thoughts on it. I think Kane will be fine and will win something eventually. Yeah, he will, for a fact. I remember last season when Newcastle got a goal disallowed because Willock got shoved into Palace goalkeeper. Yes. See, the inconsistency is the worst part. Because I know that will be a penalty next week. Maybe not in the Wolves game, but that will be a penalty next week. I know that if Onana got fouled in the box, he would have got a free kick. But when Onana does the fouling, it's not a penalty. That's what irks me. I understand that sometimes it's a penalty, sometimes it's not. But I know for a fact that will be given by another referee. I know for a fact that in another game, maybe in the 55th minute, that would have been given as a penalty. But why in the 95th minute, in the last second, away from home, against a team that have been known for corruption over the years, do Wolves not get a penalty? It just fits the agenda too well. Dennis, do you think United will have a good season? Yeah, I think they will. I think that United will have a good season. Look, today's game doesn't cloud the fact that I think United will do very well. If anything, this gives me more confidence that United will have a good season because they played crap and they still won. Like, United always start slow. Last year against Brighton, they started horribly, and against Brentford as well. But the difference is, in that game, they deserved to lose, and they did lose. This year, they deserved to lose, but they won. That's the difference. United won't play as bad as this all season. I'm genuinely confident saying that. So I'm actually more confident United will do well because they were crap and they still managed to win that football game. Obviously, you don't want to be crap in your first game and win, but you do need a few games like that every season. Every season, you're going to win games when you're not good enough to win it. It happens. And that was United today, and it happened in game week 1. Obviously, it's not sustainable, so it has to be back up to it at some point. But for now, they definitely got to get up to it, man. They definitely got to get up to it. And look, they got lucky because it was a stonewall penalty. No one in the stream right now disagreed with me. If you do disagree, let me know. I'd love to hear it. But no one in the stream right now has disagreed with me when I say it's a stonewall penalty because I think it is. And I think everyone says that. And the way I know it's a stonewall penalty as well is because if I asked you, if anyone that believes it isn't a penalty, if I asked you if that same challenge happened to Andre Onana, is it a free kick? And they would have said, of course, the goalkeeper got clattered into. Goalkeeper gets protection. So why is the outfield player not get protection then? Because he endangered his life. He clattered into the defender. He didn't see it coming. He could have got concussed. Who knows? Anything can happen in football. It was endangering the opponent and it was not safe. It was reckless behavior. He had all the hallmarks of a penalty. If you got a checklist for a penalty, he ticked all of them. So yeah, I think it was a penalty in my opinion. I'm so jealous of Isak right now, along with Saka. Yes, my favorite players in the league right now. Oh my God, Isak! I'm such a big fan of Isak. I'm so disappointed we didn't sign him, man. Arsenal was so close to signing Isak. I remember we were tracking his cars in London. Look, Isak is such a good player. He's looking like a complete striker, and he's added end product to his game. I want to get an Isak shirt, but the thing is, I don't want to get a Newcastle shirt, so I think I'm gonna have to get a Sweden shirt, unfortunately. But yeah, what do you think of Messi to MLS? Massive move for Messi. Massive move for Messi, and an even bigger move for the MLS. Because people are watching MLS games. I watch Inter Miami highlights because of Messi. Genuinely, I've never watched an MLS game in my life. Never in my life. But I watched it because of Messi. It's a big move for the MLS. To secure Messi, I think it will improve football in America in terms of the passion towards football. Because America, trust me, they're on the brink of something big. If America takes football seriously, then they will just commercialize this whole sport. America already is starting to take more interest in football. You're seeing, obviously, Ryan Reynolds and his mate sign, obviously get Wrexham, become owners of Wrexham. Obviously, you're seeing Michael B. Jordan invest in Bournemouth. You're seeing Tom Brady in Birmingham City. You're seeing JJ Watt and his partner in Burnley. So Americans getting involved in football is happening more and more. Todd Bowley, Stan Kroenke, Glazers. You're looking at FSG. The biggest clubs in football are owned by Americans nowadays. So the American influence in football is growing bit by bit by bit. Obviously, once the nation gets involved in football, then I think you'll really take football to another stratosphere. That's just my thoughts on it. And Neymar to Chelsea, nah, bro, he's going to Al Hilal, man. That's where he's going. But yeah, I've covered that as well. I think it's the right move for Neymar at this time. I think football in Europe's over for him. He's always, for me, he's going to have a legacy in terms of what he's left on the game and the impression he's left. But in terms of trophies, he hasn't done anywhere near enough. He's definitely underperformed to where he should be as a player, Neymar. Neymar, for me, should have been the second best option in a real good team. When Neymar's been asked to carry and be the number one player, he's always flopped. He did it for Brazil in the World Cups. He did it for PSG when he was there before Mbappe. He can't be the number one option. But when he was at Barcelona and Messi was the number one option, Messi was a superstar and he was the Robin to Messi, that's when he really thrived. But I don't think Neymar had the ego. So I think Neymar with his ego understood that. I don't think he understood that he actually has that role. He's got that Kyrie Irving role, as I call it, being the number two, being one of the best number twos in world football to an even better superstar. That is Neymar's status, in my opinion. And look, obviously he's won some trophies, but nowhere near as much as he should have. I love watching Messi at Barcelona, but not in France. Didn't watch him in France or MLS. Some leagues I just don't watch. I agree with you, to be fair. I only really watch the Premier League and obviously Champions League and stuff, just because I watch a lot of the Premier League and I'd rather watch more Premier League games than watch a bit of every league. So I heavily watch the Premier League. Like, I watch every single televised game today. Every televised game this weekend. I reacted to all 6 on this channel. 6 Premier League matches I watched this weekend, man. Evan Ferguson has to be a target for next season in January. Evan Ferguson is a hell of a player, bro. What a player Evan Ferguson is, man. I called it. I remember talking about him earlier. I said, if you don't know Evan Ferguson, start to know him, because he's looking like a top prospect. I 100% agree with you. Ivan Toney and Evan Ferguson, if you mean both of those players, fantastic players. Amrabat to United is meh. I think Amrabat's one of those like Renato Sanchez, those World Cup players. You know what I mean? Like, they perform in the World Cup and the Euros, but in their leagues, I don't think they're anywhere near the same. But Amrabat's a good player. I'll tell you why, right? Because he will replace Fred. I said it earlier. United don't have a Fred. They sold Fred to Fenerbahce, I believe. And that was a wrong move, because whether you like Fred or don't, Fred will run. Tell me who in this United team runs. None of them do. They've got Casemiro and McTominay, who are defensive midfielders, and they've got Mount, Eriksen, and Fernandes, who are attacking midfielders. There's no one in the middle. There's no one that would just be that link that would just run. Fred would run, man. He would lock up players. He would do the dirty work. He would be tenacious. You might not like him, but he would do it. So I think United missed that. Amrabat, they need to bring him in my opinion. Just have someone that could run around the pitch and be a nuisance and chase down loose bodies and be a runner, because we saw Wolves today run through that midfield far too easily. Nunes, Cunha, Pedro Neto. As soon as they got the ball, they were running, and no one in United's team was stopping them. They were jigging their way through all the United players, and it's not good enough. Amrabat is risking. Bro, came more an Arsenal kid as a kid. Yeah, he's an Arsenal fan. He was in the Arsenal academy. It makes sense. He should have done the Sol Campbell, man. I'm telling you. Real Madrid want De Gea or Kepa. I believe they've signed Kepa, in my opinion. I believe Real Madrid have signed Kepa. Look, going back to Spain is obviously an option for Kepa. I don't think he really performed that well in the Premier League. Obviously, he came from Spain before going to Chelsea, being one of the most expensive keepers at the time. I think he'll be a decent move for Kepa, man. Going back to Real Madrid, I don't know if he's good enough to be a starting keeper for Real Madrid, but they need someone, because obviously Courtois out of an ACL. How a goalkeeper gets an ACL injury, by the way, is beyond me. But I don't get it. They just stand in goal there. Darth Joe, appreciate joining the stream. It's a definite penalty, 100%. You can see where the players made contact. He's elbowed him. 100%, my friend. 100% agree with you. Like I said, if it was Onana that got clattered into with the same contact, they would have given the free kick. So why, when Onana does the contact, is it not a penalty? Call it what you want: agenda, corruption, inconsistencies. I don't mind what you call it, but it should have been a penalty. I know he's a Tottenham legend, but Kane deserves to win a trophy. 100% agree. Even if it's a Bundesliga, if Kane wins Champions League, that will be his legacy. He's gone there to win the Champions League, yeah. And look, if Harry Kane does win a trophy, I think he's one of the most deserved players to win some. For everything he's done in his career, he deserves that trophy so badly. Maguire to West Ham. And look, you know what? You're laughing, but it could be a good move for West Ham if they get Maguire. Maguire's not a horrible player. He just isn't good enough for Manchester United. That's the difference. Bayern's third favourites for me after Manchester United, after Man City and Real Madrid. Agree. I 100% agree with that list as well. Man City 1, Real Madrid 2, Bayern Munich 3. I agree 100%. The playing Odegaard we have developed, Isak would have been dangerous to opponents with him in behind. Bro, Odegaard and Isak played together in Real Sociedad, and they were electric together. Look, if we had Isak in that team, oh my God, we would have cooked, man. We would have cooked with Isak in this team. Look, certain signings I look back on and think, why? Isak's one of them. Bruno Guimaraes is another one, man. Bruno Guimaraes is another one that we should have signed. As long as the Americans don't change the Formula League structure, etc. Yeah, I agree. I have no problem with owners from anywhere in the world trying to buy football clubs, as long as they have an interest in football, which Todd Bowley does, to be fair. Like, he goes to all the games. I have no fault in that. And as long as they don't try and change football, that's what I'm okay with that. It's okay to have an interest. Like, Ryan Reynolds, I have no problem with him getting involved, because he's not got involved with Wrexham and decided, you know what, I want to get involved, but not only do I want to get involved, I want to change football. I want to change this rule, that rule. He's not doing that. He's just got involved. He's watching the games. He's become a fan. He's become a rich fan. Now, I have no problem with that one bit. What I have a problem is the owners that come in and go, yeah, we want the Super League. Yeah, we want to change this. No relegation, no promotion. Leave that to the franchise model in America. We like football as it is. Come in, Own the club, spend your money, watch the games. Don't try and change the sport. Odegaard and Isak do have a chemistry when they were at Sociedad, 100%. Rashford runs. I think Rashford's better on left wing than striker, to be honest. I can't wait to see what happens when Højlund comes in the team, see how Rashford does linking up with him. I don't watch Premier League, agree. Some Barcelona and Real Madrid games, I don't really in La Liga, and maybe some big games in Serie A, Bundesliga, and Eredivisie and Portuguese League. I like looking for talent in some leagues. Yeah. Look, I hear you. To be fair, Tommy, and I used to when I was growing up, but nowadays I just focus on the Premier League and Champions League, man. Those are my two competitions I watch because I'd rather double down or triple down, quadruple down on the Premier League, so I have a good understanding of pretty much every single Premier League club. So when I do my videos, even if I'm talking about Wolves, Arsenal, or Nottingham Forest, I at least have good knowledge about those clubs and I've watched enough games to come to a consensus about them. Then watch the big games in the Premier League, watch the big games in Serie A, La Liga, etc. I just know the big teams in all those leagues. I'd rather just quadruple down on one league, and that for me, that's a Premier League. Do you think England's women's team will win it again? But I'll be real, I've not kept up with the Women's World Cup at all. I have no clue. Where is it? Quarterfinals, round of 16? I don't have a clue, man. If they're in the quarterfinals, I guess they could probably win it. You made it to quarterfinals, you may as well. I've not kept up with it. I'm sorry, not one bit. Mbappe is it sorted for Real Madrid move and got offered for a year at Chelsea. Okay. Mbappe is it sorted for This is the thing, right? I've heard reports that PSG have agreed terms with Mbappe for a contract extension till 2025. Who knows, man? Who knows? We got baited, bro. We got baited. I thought Mbappe was going. To be honest, I may watch Kane's first game in Bundesliga to see how he does. Yeah, maybe I'll see. Look, if I've got space, I'll probably watch it. Also, this just clicked. The game at Tottenham to decide top 4 when we lost 3-0. Einstein would have guessed which one got given as a penalty. Yeah, that was never a penalty either, man. The refs have too much influence in games. I do also believe, though, right? A good team takes the ref out of the equation. It's under par and average teams where the ref becomes a big factor. If Wolves took all their chances today, they would have won this game 3-1, where they wouldn't have cared about the penalty at the end. You get what I mean? It's when you're a below average team that the ref becomes such a massive factor in the game. If it was Man City playing today, I'm sure if they had the chances that Wolves had, they would have worried about the penalty at the end because they would have been 4-5-1 up at the time. You get what I mean? So I do think there's an element of when a ref becomes a big factor, it's because you're not a good enough team to finish a game without the ref's influence. How many times does Ramsdale get manhandled on corners? So many times. But there's so many tactics to it right now. We in the last 4. Yeah, they should win it then. If England are in the semi-finals, they should win it, man. It's up for anyone at that point. I admit I haven't watched Women's World Cup. I don't think the timing of the tournament is good. Yeah, and I thought the Euros was last year. I thought it's every 2 years. Who knows, man? It's come at the time, obviously, when the league started, and I'm going to watch the Premier League over Women's World Cup. I'm sorry. And I haven't got time in my day to watch every single football game. Well, I'm a football addict. I can't watch every single game going on. So, yeah, one had to take the hit, and unfortunately, I always prioritize Premier League. That's just my thoughts in it. But yeah, keep you guys' comments going on. I'm going to be streaming for just a couple more minutes, though, to be fair, because it has been going on for just about an hour now. I can see a domestic league and Super League eventually. I agree with that. Like the Champions League will have a group. Like the Champions League will have a group of 6, 10 group games, etc. I do think the Super League is inevitable. Unfortunately, whether you like or hate it, I think it's inevitable. I just think we're gearing towards it bit by bit, especially with the fact that Saudi Arabia now getting involved in football. Now I can see Saudi Arabia entering the Champions League or pushing heavy for a Super League. One of the two. I'd rather they go in the Champions League because I think it'd actually be a vibe if Saudi Arabian teams get into the Champions League. But who knows, man? More games in Europe eventually, I do agree. I think the game's going to keep going up and up and up when money becomes a factor and players seem to have no say. It's going to be games every 3 days, 4 days. The amount of games keep going up and they want the quality to go up as well. Pavard is the right move for United. I agree with that. I think it would be a brilliant signing. Look, if United sign Pavard and Amrabat, I think that's good. Obviously, I would have rather they signed Kane and Højlund and Mount. But Højlund, Mount, Onana, Pavard and Amrabat, it's a good window for United. It's a good 8 or 9 out of 10. Obviously, at the end of the transfer window, I will be doing a tier list for every single team. So stay tuned for that, for their windows, in my opinion. And I genuinely think United will be up there for sure. Nothing against Saudi in Europe because Israel can see it happening. Yeah, I'd love to see it happen. I've got nothing against it either. Look, why not have Al Nassr in the Champions League? At least it adds another dynamic. And then you can really start to rate those teams because they're in a closed shop right now. Football's relative. So it's all good watching Al Nassr win the whatever it was, their equivalent of the World Cup yesterday. It's all good seeing, obviously, teams like Al Ittihad and Al Ali and Al Hilal cook. But they're playing in a league against each other. You don't know. It's the field of the unknown. If you see them in the Champions League against Newcastle, then you can actually see, how good are they? They're playing Newcastle, a good team in the Premier League. How would they match up? So I think it would be a good sign if Saudi get in the Champions League. Obviously, it's too early to happen this season, but make it happen next year, man. I want to see Saudi in the Champions League. Why not? I mean, the Champions League expanding next year anyway. Ditch the club coefficient thing and give Saudi Arabia 2 Champions League spots. I would be against that. I don't think anyone would. I'd love for that to happen. Chelsea signed Moise Caicedo for 150 million. You are right. And I believe they've agreed terms with Lavia as well. I don't know why they're signing both. Caicedo is a massive signing for Chelsea. I'm a massive, massive fan of Caicedo. I remember at the start of this transfer window, I was begging for Arsenal to do this Caicedo deal and sign Declan Rice and Caicedo. Now, at the time, I did not think Caicedo would go for 150 million. I'll tell you that for free. But he has. And what a move. What a move for Chelsea, man. I do have to say with Caicedo, right? Massive opinion on Caicedo. I do think, to be honest with you guys, right, that Moises Caicedo is one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. He's such a good defensive midfielder. So good. And Brighton, fair play. Because I remember when Arsenal bid 70 million in January for him, I thought they're bonkers for not taking it. Bonkers for not taking 70 million for Caicedo. They kept him. They used him to get Europe. They managed to finish in the Europa League and they managed to sell him in the summer for 45 million more than what Arsenal offered. So absolutely fantastic job. Brighton held their nerve and they got their money. So you got to say fair play to them for that. Brilliant, brilliant job. Do you think there could be a way for the South American Giants into Champions League, River Plate, etc.? I don't think so. Just because of the distance, it's too far away to like fly all the way over the Atlantic for Champions League games, then fly all the way back to South America. I just think that's the only reason. It's a bit of a shame, obviously, because I genuinely think that is the only reason. It's just distance for me. But who knows? With the new format and with commercialism, we could see some Champions League games in America. For all we know, it could happen. The money's insane. It is. And of course, money talks in football, man. Cash is king. I'd love to see River Plate in the Champions League. Scrap the FIFA Cup World Cup. It's a Mickey Mouse. Who knows, bro? Anything can happen. But right now, I don't see it. I just don't. I just think the distance-wise, it just doesn't make sense. They're flying all the way over for Champions League. They fly back in the same week. Jet lag central. I just don't think it's worth it, man. I don't think it's worth it. But yeah, to wrap up this game, I'm going to wrap up the stream now. I've been streaming for over an hour. Stay tuned. My next stream, I believe, will be on the weekend for the next Premier League games. Or actually, Wednesday. I believe it's the Super Cup between Man City and Sevilla. So I think I'll be streaming after that one. But yeah, make sure you stay tuned for that. So wrap up this game. Manchester United do win 1-0 against Wolves. It was jammy. It was fluky. But they got the 3 points. So for United, they have to take that. And they move on to Tottenham next week, which will be a tough game. See want Paqueta. I have no clue why, to be honest. But if they do get him, fair play. It'll cost an awful lot of money. And I don't think Paqueta is worth 110 million. He's definitely not worth more than Declan Rice, in my opinion. But look, Man City got money for days. So let's see what happens. Why is the European Super League taken more seriously? Who knows, bro? Who knows, man? I guess we'll find out on Wednesday how serious Man City take it. But yeah, make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. My road to 5,000 subscribers. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you stop watching this now, it's not a stream, it's now a video. Drop a like down below so if it gets out to more people in the algorithm. I hope to catch you all in my next stream. I appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Take care.